Okay, so what is your name?
Marlene Pecha,
When were you born?
May 11th, 1938,
In what town were you born?
Milwaukee.
If you could use one word to describe your mother, what would it be?
The greatest, or greatest,
And why would you say she's the greatest?
lovable.
Yeah. And what would you, if you could use one word to describe your father, what would it be?
Fabulous.
And why would you say fabulous?
Loving man.
So you had a lot of love and respect for your parents.
Oh, definitely.
And what did your parents do for a living?
They both worked in a factory,
What factory did they work in?
Alice Chalmers.
Oh, we learned about that in my class.
Okay.
Okay. What do you know, like, about Alice Chandler? So what did they do there?
Oh, well, they did a lot of work, like during the war. My dad worked in the foundry, which I'm not quite sure what it was all about, but it was hot and you got very, very dirty.
Yeah.
And they worked there all their life until they retired.
Okay. And you don't have any siblings?
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
only child. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the neighborhood like that you grew up in?
It was great because, you could go outside and play and you didn't have to worry about perverts around you. And, and it's like two-way streets and the cars were just going very slow. I mean, it was really a nice neighborhood.
Very different from now when people like lock their doors at night and they're all protective and everything. It
Definitely.
wasn't like
definitely. You could take and walk to the movie, which was like 5 blocks away, or grocery store. We used to play games outside and everything, as kids. So.
Interesting. Okay. So what was your early school life like for elementary school or middle school?
Well, I went to William McKinley School on 20th and McKinley.
Okay.
First till 8th grade, and then after that I went to West Division on 22nd and Highland and graduated from there in 1956.
And where did you go to high school?
That was the one, West Division High School.
Oh, okay. And then what kind of things were you involved in high school?
Homemaking, dance.
Yeah.
Dance.
So what was your social life like? Did you have any jobs or?
Okay, sure. I have many friends and we just hang out it was very, good at that time. But I had worked at one of the hospitals doing the dietary.
Oh, okay.
Taking the trays to the patients. That was my first job.
Oh, okay. So in high school, what were your plans once you graduated? What did you want to do?
I wanted to be a nurse, then I wanted to be a dancer, and needless to say, I became a wife and a mother, and
yeah. So what were like common fads that you remember growing up in high school?
Oh my gosh, we used to wear what they call a babushka scarf around our head and have it sitting on our chin, and the blue suede jackets and the long skirts, the longer and the tighter the better, and saddle shoes. And yet they had to be dirty, they couldn't be clean. And then the girls would take their socks and roll them as far down as they can around their ankles.
As far as cars and music, what do you think about that?
Cars and music, as far as
from when you were growing up?
Oh, music. I love music. My mother and dad were very musical. They used to dance and win dance contests when they were younger, before they got married and stuff. But I love music.
Yeah. Who was your favorite to listen to?
At that time, oh my gosh, there was so many. You probably wouldn't even know. The Four Lads, Elvis Presley.
Okay. So, did your parents ever tell you what their lives were like during the Great Depression?
Well, it was very, very, very hard. They skimped and everything, and they did what they could do. They had the rationing stamps and everything at that time.
So a lot of people, they lost trust in the banks and the government, and they would stop putting their money in the banks, and they would hide it in random places in their houses, and they lost a lot of trust in that. Did your parents ever... Was that what your life was like with your parents? Or?
Yeah, I know my dad would always put it in the envelope in his dresser drawer. Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah, because after that they didn't trust the government or the banks,
No.
and they put more trust in themselves than
Right.
in the banks. Do you remember, like, what do you remember about when Pearl Harbor was attacked? Like,
Oh, my dad was overseas at the time because he was in the Navy, and I was only 3 years old, so
yeah.
I really didn't know too much at that time.
How long was your dad in the Navy?
4.5 years.
And he was overseas with
He was
it?
He was all over, yeah.
Okay. When you were in school, do you remember doing anything with the war effort or anything like that, or you were younger?
No, I don't remember any of that. No.
Oh, okay. And what do you recall from 9/11? Like where you were, or how you felt about
Oh, well, I had a cleaning business at the time, and I was just leaving my apartment, and all of a sudden they flashed it on the TV about 9/11, and well, I couldn't really, get involved in it till I got to the person's house. And once I got to the house, it was like, oh, that was just devastating. It was just unbelievable.
that? And I remember, I was only 5 years old, and I just remember driving to school to take Christina to school, and my mom heard it on the radio, and I didn't understand what it meant, but like, what was running through your head when you heard about it?
I mean, that could have been anywhere, of course they did New York, and it was just, it could happen. It still could happen again. Hopefully it doesn't someplace else.
With your dad being in the Navy growing up, did you, like, how was that for you? Or, did he talk about it with you at all?
Not too much. It's just that, my dad was gone so much, and I used to sleep with my mother. And when my dad got out of the service, of course, they slept together, which is supposed to be, and I didn't like that because I was the only child. I had no, like you say, I had no siblings or anything. My mother was my best friend besides my mother, so it was kind of hard to get used to, but I did.
Yeah. So your dad probably never really talked about what life was like when he was in the war or anything like that?
Not that I can remember, no.
Okay. That's common, that they don't
They
bring
don't
it into
wanna-
their families or their children.
Right.
All right.